Welcome in to Extreme Talk, presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Request your new patient appointment online at GracePointeHealthcare.com. Get $20 off when you mention 8-Man Extreme. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. We're also fueled by Fairlife Core Power Protein and financially supported in part by First Horizon. As we welcome you into the GracePointe Healthcare studios, welcome to everyone watching or listening around the world. Spencer Thompson alongside James Shannon, chugging the water bottle. Perfect timing, as usual, by the maestro of 8-Man football. And we welcome, for the first time this year, we welcome a new personality on the show who's going to bring his football knowledge. Used to be a football player and everything. We welcome Brendan Daniel to the 8-Man Extreme team.
Speaking of personality.
Let him stick. Come on, man. I was just introducing you. I said, welcome to the show. James Shannon, good for hot takes. Stephen A. Shannon, good for hot takes and good for cutting people off. So, Brendan Daniel, welcome to the 8-Man Extreme team.
Thank you. It's an honor being here. I've been honestly waiting for this opportunity since you spoke about Spencer. Like, it's like the first semester we had together?
I think like I first was on campus at MTSU in 2019 in the fall, so at least full time and everything. So yeah, we've been talking about stuff that in and out, and then with the NSMA meetings and all that kind of stuff. So now we got you on board. Of course, we've already mentioned Audrey Green is off screen, who's helping us on the behind the scenes work and everything. But just to educate the viewers and the listeners out there, your football background as well as your sports media background.
Football-wise, I've been playing since I was like a kid. I officially got on a team around 6th, 7th grade, and I played up to my senior year because I got a concussion. It was real bad, but, you know, I decided to take care of my body and my mental health more than, try to play the sport. Loved it to death, though.
Oh, yeah. I know about the take care of the body and mental and physical health and everything. That's why in the off season, 44 pounds lost so far. I think I gained about 2 or 3 of them back from vacation last week.
I think I found those 44 pounds.
By the way, I'd just like to point out before we fully get started in the show, you can see there's 3 different personalities at this table just by the shirts that are being worn and the caps and everything. Because you look at Brennan, no anime, but he's wearing a Naruto shirt. He's got a backwards cap on. Naruto. Thank you.
Naruto.
Thank you.
We were half right.
Thank
we
you.
get like 50% credit put together. It's 100.
Thank you. There's also the branding, 8-Man Extreme, and then what's the cap today?
That is actually my championship cap that they gave us. It's kind of stupid. Like, it's supposed to be an S, but it looked like a music symbol.
Yeah,
and
I was about to say, is that the treble clef kind of squished?
It looks like
or
the
something?
treble clef, but it's I asked them, and I was like, why did you do it this way? Why didn't you just give us an S? And they're like, oh, well, it's just a cursive S. I'm like, dude, I grew up writing cursive in school. This is not a cursive S.
Even look at my cursive signature. My S is not even close to that. Granted, my cursive isn't that great.
I bet you my cursive is better than yours.
I would happily accept that.
I will put my cursive against anybody.
I would not put my cursive against anybody.
I had to take specific handwriting classes in school.
I mean, so did I, but I just don't remember it. Like they made us
remember it.
Yeah, when we were in when I was in elementary school, they made us do cursive.
I still have fantastic handwriting.
Well, congratulations
to this
to
day.
you on that.
Hey, did y'all know that banana pudding tacos are a thing?
No.
It just popped up on my phone. Just
squirrel. Gosh.
So yeah, this is my championship hat. I didn't want to bring the jersey, but the trophy, but you know.
Right. But Brendan's going to be joining me in the broadcast booth this year. It seems like every year I have a consistently new broadcast partner because we had Trent Legate in 2017. Technically, if you want to look at it, 2016 on those first few games I did, it was you. So 2016.
Yeah.
2017, Trent Legate. 2018, Isaiah Austin. 2019, it was you again. 2020, it was Zachary Lone. Then technically Jack Helwig because he had to fill in for a while. And then now Brendan Daniel and potentially somebody else who knows. But that's 8 different broadcast partners, at least back to back. So it's not a bad thing.
And you still make them look good. Do I?
You're right. 8. So
he said, I've got.
I was literally looking at him like,
count how many mistakes I've made on my fingers and my toes, and then
Franklin
I run out of them.
Private school education.
Yeah. It's
the kind that. Never mind.
I mean, you could say it, but you know how it is. But
it's kind of crazy, like hearing the private school kids like, oh, look at private school kid here, and it's like, oh, the public school kids used to get bullied like that.
Right.
It's universal across.
You literally have public school, private school, homeschool.
Oh yeah.
Wow, actually, just realized
We've got
that,
all three
This is
sections.
This is maybe not a good recipe. I'm just realizing that.
That's a great recipe. Bring 3 different aspects.
Yeah, 3 different aspects and then 3 different hot takes, I guess.
Pretty much.
But,
Hey, special shout out wherever you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're in the car, at your house, in your swimming pool, maybe you're working out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who would work out and listen to us or choose to relax in their swimming pool and listen to what. Like, this is not what I would be listening to in a swimming pool. Like if I was chilling on a float, just, kick back.
just imagine. No, I love
Virgin
that.
margarita in my hand.
That is one of the things I would love is actually having a swimming pool. That's the one thing I kind of envy about other people is I don't have a pool in my backyard. I would love to be able to just kick back, listen to a podcast, just especially in the heat, the humidity, and the
You
heat.
too? Why would you listen to a podcast while you're in the pool?
Well,
Why
I mean,
not?
either a podcast or some
Put on a playlist.
either a podcast or
like some
chill
some
music.
good country.
No.
No.
I don't care if
No,
we're in
sorry.
Nashville. Country is not the pool
get-
lounging music. That is
whatever.
not pool lounging
You gotta
music.
go with the R&B, man.
Yeah, something like R&B.
Okay,
or,
I'll
no,
give you
freeform
Marvin.
Jazz.
I'll give you
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Really?
Yes.
Honestly, I gotta go with The Weeknd. I like his
Oh yeah.
There's a
That's
few
the other
songs you can
personality stuff
play
on there. Yeah.
on The Weeknd.
Yeah.
There's a few songs.
I am a star boy. That's what I'll go with today.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right.
I
My
love it.
friends think so. But all right. So,
Like a
again,
dwarf star boy.
welcome to welcome to Brendan Daniel. Excited to have you on. Excited to have you on board for this season, and excited to call our first game on Friday. With we'll reveal that towards the end of the show. But first, we got to recap the action we had this last weekend. Equipment issues galore for us, but the good news is we
Why did
pretty
you bring
much
that up?
we pretty much figured out the kinks, and we had to order a new piece of equipment going for Friday, and we should be good to go for all the new innovations we have for the broadcast season. We're going with a 1-camera setup today because of those equipment issues and such, but next week it'll be worked out. But other than that, it was a good Jamboree. It was nice to be able to have that Jamboree again for the first time in 2 years because the pandemic had to cancel all scrimmages and Jamborees across Tennessee, but it was really good to see all the teams gathered again, to feel the atmosphere for several of the teams. I tell you, no matter what Tennessee Heat game you go to, whether it's a scrimmage or Jamboree, they always pack out the bleachers. Like Brendan and I were pointing this out. After the Tennessee Heat game was over, I looked over the bleachers. I'm like, man, those bleachers cleared out quick. Because the Heat just packed everything. But no, it was that CCS Jamboree, the Colts athletic department, everything, they did a good job of getting the coordination and such.
It's the homeschoolers for you.
we
We show up and show out.
But football
Probably
action-wise-
because we got nothing better to do and we've got all our chores done. But anyways,
But football action-wise, it was a good night, good 2 nights of football. Got to see some of the new teams in action, and got to see some of the returning teams in action and everything. But I was excited to see, particularly you just go by Friday night. Grace Baptist looked pretty good for heading down.
I like what they brought to the table Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's a Jamboree. Not everybody's playing for everybody, or they're playing, moving some pieces around. But in its entirety, I like what they brought to the table. I think they'll be a lot of fun to watch this year.
Yeah, and especially they had tough matchups in the 2 quarters they played against Christian Community and the Tennessee Heat. But I also liked to see what Ezell-Harding had bringing to the table as well, especially with their season being cut short in the playoffs because of the COVID outbreak and such. But Ezell-Harding had a really good standout, especially with you could tell that the players who were on that team last year, they're hungry to get back to the state championship, and they're hoping that COVID is not going to have any impact on it going into the fall.
What about those white helmets?
Oh,
With
yeah.
the uniforms.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I texted Coach. I asked him. He said, "Yeah, the red helmets they were rolling with, they never really matched the uniform. They had the maroon uniform or crimson, whatever, and then the red helmets, and it just wasn't. And they went to white helmets. does a heart well. But yeah, I mean, when you lose in 2 years, when you lose Kadarius Price, Braxton Coleman, Jamari Liddell, KJ Stockard, I'm spacing on the quarterback, Derek Griffin. When you lose that many guys in a span of 2 years, there's going to have to be guys that step up.
Oh yeah.
And they stepped up Friday night.
I remember we were
very
talking.
impressed.
We were talking with one of the fans when we were just watching in between quarters. We were talking with the fans of Ezell-Harding, and they asked us, "How can you replace Alex Valbuena?" We were just like,
that's the
it's
other
difficult.
thing. You lost Valbuena.
Yeah,
I even forgot about him.
Yeah, it's like you can't. You just simply can't because of how good of a player he is.
It's like South Haven trying to replace Manny Dang.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, his little brother is now playing on the team.
Oh yeah, I think Manny was actually in the crowd watching.
Number.
Yeah, I think Manny
might have been there.
Yeah, he was there watching the South Haven quarters on the second day and such. But Brendan, your thoughts on what you saw in the Jamboree?
I really liked Grace's defense.
Mm-hmm.
They really toughened up, especially when it came to running plays. That defensive line just got through instantly.
Mm-hmm.
A few things. The one thing I know I didn't like, and I don't remember what team it was, but it was the two-back.
Yeah, we were watching that on the replay. I can't remember
South
if that
Haven,
was
we used some two-back
Yeah,
sets.
I think it was South Haven is the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, I didn't like how the quarterback would have to literally sit as soon as he got the ball and would have to decide on who to give it to or run. To me, like
an option, offense.
Yeah. But
where he could go here, or keep it.
Yeah, but I would more like that out of a pistol or a shotgun because I feel like endangering your quarterback like that, it could be major issues.
Well, it could have just been hiccups too. You know, he could have just been learning, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing instead of going, okay, is it here? You know, Jamboree, you're working out kinks with that kind of situation.
Very
so
true.
he could have just been working that out. But
trying out new offensive schemes as well.
That's fair.
Because you saw several times with players on South Haven, Tennessee Heat. You saw it several times where there were times where they took that draw option and would try pitching it behind him, and there's nobody there. Yeah. So there were a lot of miscommunication on that part. But as we kept saying it during our dry run of it's a Jamboree. That's the time to test it out.
And for Zion, Coach Jordan, having only 6 practices going into last night. He's trying out his offense, and he's going, okay, I've tweaked an offense from 11 to 8. Let's see how it works. Let's see what I need to fix. Grace did a great job of making adjustments. So, I mean, it's a chance for guys to hit somebody other than their teammate and for coaches to see live action and go, okay, we need to change this. We need to fix this. There's sometimes that you go through a whole training camp and you think you've got a quarterback, and then you turn around and it's, you put a kid in at quarterback maybe for the Jamboree or something, and you're like, well, let's just see what happens. And then he shows up, and you're like, okay, maybe we need to be giving him reps.
Yeah. Going back to Zion real quick, since you gave me that information right there, they're pretty impressive for only doing 6 practices.
Yeah, no, I was about to bring that up.
And they've only got 3 seniors on the team.
Yeah,
That's
3
awesome.
seniors. I think they had total but they had 16 players in jerseys, but 14 that were padded out. So obviously the numbers, you can't field an 11-man team with 16 players, but they looked really solid, even for having that minimal practices, and especially the amount of practices they had at the 8-man level of knowing, okay, we're going to turn right around, go to this Jamboree, and then get right into the season with the short time they've had. Zion really looked impressive in that Jamboree on Saturday.
Well, and I'll tell you what, they have their first game this Saturday against South Haven. And of course, it's at South Haven. But, we got a little preview last night.
Yep.
And I'm excited about what that game brings to the table. And you know what? Speaking of that game and speaking of Zion, Spence?
Is it? Are you making that quick transition and such? But yeah.
Segue.
Yeah, ultimately, Jamboree was fantastic. We enjoyed being there. It was a good experience and everything. I think I got Brennan is going to try to get us to go back to Christian Community for that Philly cheesesteak.
Did you? Did you try it?
Yeah, we had it at the second day.
Right,
No,
right.
As we were walking up to the press box that first day, I just casually asked the concession people, I was like, is the Philly cheesesteak here tonight? They're like, no, it'll be there tomorrow. So we're like, all right, we know our dinner plans. So, but yeah, no, great environment, great Jamboree. Glad to have it back after being canceled last year, and excited to go. But as you mentioned, speaking of Zion Christian,
Let's get him on the phone.
Yeah, who better to give us insight into the Zion Christian Academy program than the head coach himself, Jeff Jordan? As you get to hear that live ringing as we try to get Coach Jordan in.
Just a little touch there.
Yeah, just that little subtle touch there as we try to get Coach Jordan in on the show.
Guys, we have someone that listens
Hello.
to
And there he is. We welcome the head coach for Zion Christian Academy, Jeff Jordan, to Extreme Talk. Coach, welcome to your debut. And officially, if anyone else hasn't said it to you already, welcome to the 8-man football scene for the first time.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yep. We're glad to have you. So, for those who don't know, this is your debut, of course, on Extreme Talk. So we just with recent memory, I want to know, what are your thoughts on your team's performance in the CCS Jamboree, just the overall impression you had, and some improvements you think your team can make heading into Saturday night?
Like when you woke up this morning, obviously a lot of emotions last night. First thoughts that come through your head?
I thought last night was great. I thought the boys played as hard as they could. I reiterated to them that, the mistakes that are made are on me as far as preparation. As long as they went out and competed as hard as they could, I thought it was going to be a win. The things that we need to improve are just things that I had to learn and see with my own eyes on what's going to work and what's not going to work. And I think I've got a pretty good idea of what I need to do to help our team improve and continue to get better day by day.
Now, Coach, when you move your offense from 11 to 8, obviously everybody knows you lose the 3 players, and I've heard different philosophies. For instance, you take the I formation. If you're going from 11 to 8, you drop the 2 receivers and you drop the tight end, or there's different ways to do it. In that kind of a circumstance, going from 11 to 8, I formation, what are you doing?
We would drop the tackles and drop one of the backs potentially.
Gotcha.
And our offense so far has been pretty similar to what we were running before, just with such a short amount of time to learn new things. We kind of just stayed with what we had and made the adjustments on a few things. And I see that it can work in that position. We just need to just tweak some things and adjust some things off of that.
Coach, can you give us a little background of where you came from and how you got to this position?
I grew up in the Middle Tennessee area. I went to high school at Page High School in Franklin. Got my coaching start with youth football with the Franklin Cowboys. Moved on to middle school ranks at Franklin Road Academy for several years, and then made the move to high school. I was at Page High School for a year, Ravenwood High School for 3 years, where we ended with a state runner-up. And then last season I was at Innsworth High School. The job at Zion came open, and I thought it was a great opportunity to get into a great school and lead my own program. And we came down the road and we noticed that numbers were going to be a little bit of a challenge. And when Riverside made the decision that they weren't going to be able to do an 8-man team, they reached out to us to see if we were interested in taking their schedule, and we felt like it was an opportunity to provide the school and provide the players an opportunity to compete in a safer environment than what would have been an 11-man season with 14 players.
For sure.
Coach, I wanted to build off of that with the opportunity you guys had to take over Riverside Christian's schedule, because at first your team and your school and your program had been in talks with the TSIAA to join formally in the South with 8-man football, and then decided about a month or two later the decision was made by the administration to go back to 11-man and make the commitments, and then going back to take over Riverside's schedule. How was that behind the scenes of the decision to be in 8-man football, then back to 11-man, and then back into 8-man football on short notice?
Well, I wasn't a part of the early decision process. I was hired in early May, so I've only heard secondhand conversations about that. The discussions around this move lasted a couple days. We had meetings with the administrative team from the high school and from the admissions office and the head of school, centered around what we thought would be best for our players and for our school moving forward and how we build our program. So that was that part of the decision was just what we felt was best for the school at this time.
Now, in terms of transitioning, because through your coaching career, you've mostly been on the 11-man side of football. So how is that adjustment from coaching over the summer from May until about a few weeks ago? How is that transition for you and the players to realize, okay, we need to start coaching in an 8-man mindset instead of 11-man?
It's been fun. Just trying to learn, and I've watched plenty of you guys' videos from games over the last year or so.
I'm sorry.
Well, I wanted to watch the more recent ones to make sure I was seeing things as what people are doing these days. And I've had several conversations. I'm good friends with LeBron Ferguson at Providence Christian. He was my athletic director when I got hired at Franklin Road Academy, and Coach McGee at Ezell-Harding reached out, and he and I talked for a good amount of time as well. So I've had some help from some coaches in the league. They've been real gracious and open with their knowledge. So for the kids and for us, it's just been fun trying to learn something new and how fast we can put it together.
Hey, Coach, based off what you saw off the Jamboree, and I don't know if you saw any of Friday night, but when you look at your schedule as a whole, is there anybody that you kind of circle and you say, you know what, I'm looking forward to this game right here? I'm looking forward to playing this team right here.
Not really. Honestly, I'm just excited to play our next game. I think South Haven's going to be a fun game. It'll be our true first experience with an entire game. So I'll pull a Belichick line and say we're focused on who's next. I don't know a lot about the teams, to be honest with you. So I can't point to one team and say this will be fun. I'll enjoy playing against Coach Ferguson. I haven't seen him in several years. So it'll be fun for him to come down, and I'll get to hang out and talk to him for a little bit. So that'll be fun. But for the most part, I'm just focused on trying to get these guys ready for this coming Saturday.
I was about to say you at least have that situation where it kind of comes full circle of you guys being able to meet up again. That's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's going to be fun to see him.
Now, Coach, you may not be able to point directly to any teams and matchups you're looking forward to, but I'm sure with the summer workouts and everything, you can at least point to some players that you're going to be leaning on for the season, and some of your senior leaders or upperclassmen leaders that you think are going to help guide the team throughout this football season through your summer workouts and leading up to your first game on Saturday. Which players stand out to you the most of guys that have really stepped up and really put in the work in the off season?
Well, I think a couple of the guys that have really stood out is Seth King. He's our senior starting center, and he'll swing between I call him a Mike linebacker and a defensive end. I'm not sure what everybody calls these positions in 8-man.
It's about the same.
So yeah, so he'll play the Mike position and some defensive end positions. He's been a great leader throughout the entire summer and through this whole transition. He's been pretty even keeled and he's been a part of it the whole time. I think Logan Abbott is going to have a great season for us. He was involved heavily throughout the summer with everything. He's been a great leader as well, and he's only a sophomore. So
wow.
we're looking forward to 3 years with him. And he got tweaked a little bit last night, but I think he's going to be fine. A little bit of a quad injury, but and then some other guys who have come in lately, Jaron Kaiser, Brandon Porter, Max Brown, a couple of those guys made some plays for us last night. And as we work to get these guys into better shape, I think those guys are going to be able to contribute a lot to us.
Coach, as you go forward, and obviously the kids at the school get to see the game, and just get to experience it. Do you anticipate that maybe you'll be able to get some kids coming out of the halls that say, you know what, wasn't so sure about this, I didn't know about this, but you know what, I want to give it a try, and I want to get on the team and get involved with the excitement that I think will surround you guys making the move and once you guys get going playing football?
Well, I think naturally with me being an in-house coach now, I think those things can happen. They've only had one coach in their football program history that has been an in-house teacher. So I think naturally that would happen. So I can agree that would probably it'll be the case as kids get to know me and develop a relationship with me through weight training or just seeing them throughout the hallway. I definitely think we'll be able to grow the numbers even just within the school itself, not including our enrollment, which is continuously growing, which is a great thing. So those things will definitely happen, and we look forward to continue to building it.
Hey, Coach, what's one of the things that you have to get used to coming from an environment like a Franklin Road or an Innsworth, and then you come to a little bit smaller private school, in Columbia, which is kind of considered country? What's one of the things you kind of have to get used to making that transition?
Mm, I would say,
or is there much of a transition?
I would say, I mean, I would say there's not much of a transition. A lot of the private schools kind of have similar structures to them. A lot of them are heavily about the academics. We're academics first on all, and all schools are obviously, but private schools a lot of times have a little bit better of an educational value to it. I would say just for me being in the school itself, just the religious aspect of it has been great for me. Coming from public school most of the time, being able to be, a spiritual leader for the kids within the school has been the fun part for me.
Now, I know you guys put in a lot of work on your field and take a lot of pride in it. How would you rate your field compared to the CCS field that you played on last night? Because I know they put a lot of work into it as well.
Huge. That's the one thing I can say. Lots of space. Lots of space.
There you go.
CCS has a great field. We walked the field before the game. That's something I started with youth sports, and I've continued it just about everywhere I've been. So we walked the field. The field was great. Coming to our field in a couple weeks, we just have a lot of room.
There you
we
go.
already had a big field from what I was told, and the sideline was bigger than most high schools anyways. So taking away 6.5 yards on each side of a football field, there's a lot of space.
Well, there you go.
But we should be pretty good as far as our grass field will be, and it'll be exciting.
I know the ground is the ground. I've always compared it to falling because, of course, I played there, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always compared it to falling on like a nice plush carpet,
Right.
or a pad. It just hits different, literally. What you got, Spence?
Something like that. Well, Coach, you're going to have a similar size field when you have your debut in 8-man football against the South Haven Christian School Patriots up in Springfield. And we got a little preview of that on last night when you guys played South Haven for a quarter in the Jamboree. So your thoughts on facing the Patriots, who were runner-up for the state championship last year, your thoughts on facing them on the road to begin not just your season, but your first ever 8-man football game in program history.
It's going to be a tough game. They're a great team. They've got a lot of size and speed to them. We're going to have to be in better shape in a week, which is going to be hard to say, but we're going to have to be in better shape and be able to run and tackle those guys. They definitely played well, and they were coached well, and it's going to be a great challenge. And if we're going to step into this arena and into this organization, I'd love nothing better than to take on one of the best, just from the start, so we can quickly see where we stand. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be, a lot of fun for these boys to see that type of environment. So it'll be tough, but it'll be worth it, I think.
For sure.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday to come on board. We're excited to see what the Eagles can do going into Saturday night in their 8-man football tenure. So thanks again for coming on. We're excited to see how you guys are Saturday night.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you,
All right.
Coach.
All right.
That was Coach Jeff Jordan of the Zion Christian Academy Eagles. We now have 3 different Eagles teams in A-band football.
What are you going to call it when 2 Eagles play? Because apparently when 2 Knights play, you call
It's
it a
jousting match. Give me some time to think about that, because I don't know if there's
That's all you need.
I don't know if there's a name for like a war on birds or something like that, or a fighting match with birds or something. But
How about the Great American Bird Battle?
The bird battle. Okay, we'll call it the Battle of the Birds. That'll be the
good.
Battle of the Birds will be actually. Do we have? That's a great question.
what?
The Battle of the
Battle of the
Birds,
Birds.
because he said the Great American Bird Battle, so we just shortened it to Battle of the Birds. It'll
there's
take some
3 of
time to
them.
simmer.
So
I'm
there's
saying
gonna be
when the
multiple.
When they
birds
play each other,
when the
though.
birds play each other, which we won't have that. We will have that when Zion travels to Grace Baptist, but that's the Golden Eagles. So it's the Golden Eagles and the Eagles on September.
I just want to know what a
24th.
golden eagle is.
That's a great question.
I legit want to know what a golden eagle is.
We didn't ask Coach Ateka when he was on the show. We had a
should
chance.
have.
Yeah, we had a chance, but we didn't ask him on that. So
We should have.
happens that way sometimes, but it's a good interview as usual. I can't
Good
think
stuff
of
from Coach.
Yeah, I can't think of a time that we've ever had a bad interview with a coach. Which let's hope that trend continues throughout the season.
Thanks for
but,
jinxing it, Sir
but
Spence.
no, I think we should be fine.
Knock on the table now.
There.
Okay.
You got something, but
All right.
I think that was good. That was good, especially good to get some insight from him. I didn't know he's with the Franklin Cowboys too, which they're Jim
didn't know
Warren
that
right
either.
right down the street from here too. They always that's another one of those programs where they just develop youth and get them into the football programs and such. So
Well, and I knew that he knew Coach LeBron.
mm-hmm.
I just didn't know how. And then it kind of makes sense.
So they both
That he was
they
at
both,
FRA.
Yep, yep.
LeBron was the AD there.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I mean, when you look at their schedule, that's kind of one that he mentioned it, but it's kind of cool that they get to play each other, having had a relationship. It's always cool when coaches have a relationship, they get to play each other. But the fact that they had worked together,
Right.
just brings another element to it.
Oh yeah, it brings a whole different thing to it. Any thoughts from you on the interview, Brennan?
I think he did. It's one of the best interviews we probably had in a while for you guys. I feel like, because I watched a few of the interviews while on vacation. He seems like he's ready for the season. I'm really excited to see the matchup against those two coaches, because usually those types of matchups, it's like, ooh, like, am I better than you? Or
Right.
the master past the student,
Well, not even that. Coach Sawyer's has been on one of the assistant coaching roles for a while with South Haven, and he finally stepped up into that head coaching role last year. But Coach Sawyer's is technically in his sophomore year at the head coaching helm and such. So that'll be a really interesting matchup to see how that plays out on Saturday.
See, here's what I'm waiting for.
Oh boy.
Okay. I'm waiting for an alumni of a school to go to another school, because it happens all the time in TWSAA. Alumni of a school go to another school to coach and then have to play his alma mater. We still have not had that happen in 8-man. We have had
Not yet.
alum versus alum,
Yep.
but we haven't had the traitor alum versus the true alum.
That's
had that.
Yeah, that's a great question, or that's a great proposition. I wonder if after a certain point, if there's any coaches that would do that around the TSI.
There's several former players that are coaching now.
Yeah, that are
even as
coaching.
assistants.
Yeah, but they're coaching at their school. So I wonder if there's any that would get the opportunity to be a head coach at one of the rival schools or something.
It'd be like Coach Flanders going and coaching at South Haven. And then
I don't know if he would
Rollins or something comes up,
or
and
like
coaches.
Isaiah going to Franklin Christian.
Right.
I don't know if he would ever do that, because you remember in 2018 when he had to
just
wear
about
the jersey.
burned wearing the jersey.
Yeah, I don't think he would ever accept that job if he were offered
So
it.
when the two Franklin schools would play, of course he's from the
Graduated
FCA,
from FCA, yeah.
Isaiah's FCS. So when they played, the bet was whoever teams lost,
You have to
that
wear the winning-
alum had
yeah.
to put on the winning team's jersey and hat.
Mm-hmm.
And so
It wouldn't have
classical-
crushed me. It's just I took that gamble because I knew
So
that it would crush
it would crush Isaiah
more than it would crush
so
me.
classical
So,
lost.
mhm,
So Isaiah had to
2018.
put on an FCA jersey and hat, and we have a picture. We got a picture.
Yeah,
of it.
you could see he was
It
defeated.
will live in infamy.
He was so defeated after
We should
that.
retweet that picture.
Be like throwback to 2018.
I think it's still on our Instagram.
Oh,
actually.
of course it is. Either Instagram or the social media, any of that. You do a good job of
I
posting
think it's
those
on
all over.
Instagram. Oh,
It's
please.
somewhere on there.
Aw,
but-
shucks, fellas.
Yeah, but no, good interview with Coach Jeff Jordan. Their game on Saturday against South Haven. That's going to be be a good one. So
It'll be a lot of fun. But
yeah.
you know, you look at the Jamboree and from
Mhm.
Friday night. I'll tell you what though, that Heat FCA matchup did not disappoint.
oh yeah,
That was
That was a
fun
good-
to watch.
oh,
That
yeah.
was highly anticipated. It's what we got robbed of. We got robbed of Heat FCA last year through people's fault, but and then we got robbed of Heat of Ezekiel. We got robbed of those two games. I feel like last year, and so now half of it is satisfied. You know, obviously the same players aren't on the team, but we got to see those two on the field, and there was intensity.
Imagine if we did have the Heat and Ezekiel face off in the semis for that national championship. That would have been a good matchup. I know you would have wanted them in the
I think it
national
depends
game,
on
but-
I think it depends on how they do during the season. Like last year, they were both just plugging and chugging,
Mhm.
and now if they do that again this year, then yes, it'd be great to get them in the playoffs.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting conversation to have as the season progresses with the national rankings. That'll
sure.
be a good question of how many teams go this year and which of the teams accept and such. I wonder if they're going to expand the playoff format for Florida.
Well, I know. Ideally, they like to take the top 8 and then do a Division I, Division II, and that one is based off records, but it's not a 500 record
Right.
majority of the time. But I'm glad you brought up the national tournament because I did see this week that they released their list of who they're covering officially.
Yep, they did.
This year, and I do want to run through that real quick.
Yeah.
So they are doing it from, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, so they've got alphabetical.
It looks like 7 or 8 different states is what they're keeping track of. They're Louisiana, Tennessee, obviously, Georgia, Kansas, Missouri, Alabama,
South
South
Carolina.
Carolina, North Carolina. Shout out.
Yeah, we already said
I
Mississippi.
said Mississippi and
Florida. Yep.
One team out of Florida. So, of course, from Tennessee, you have Christian Community, Ezell-Harding, FCA, Franklin Classical, Grace Baptist, Lancaster, Lighthouse, Providence, Sacred Heart, Tennessee Heat, and
South Haven.
Zion.
Yeah,
and South Haven as well.
And Zion on there. A good amount of Tennessee teams. A lot of Alabama teams on there,
There's
too.
a lot
Just
of
not-
8-men in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. They're in terms of Alabama, they're keeping track of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 different teams.
That's a lot. A lot of different
About as
teams
much as
in the ranks.
Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the teams they're tracking are from Tennessee and Alabama. And then,
But it is a national tournament. They've
Right,
invited
they
teams from
do-
across the I believe the contingent United States at this point. I don't know if they've invited anybody from Alaska or Hawaii yet. I'm sure they would open the
No.
invitation.
Oh, that's right.
to.
They did have the California teams in there
Yeah.
before. But, yeah, I mean, they've got teams from Kansas, the Wichita Warriors, Louisiana. Where's the one? Acadiana Christian, however you say that. They're looking at them. The Cornerstone Saints, or Cornerstone Spartans.
There's also
The Cornerstone Spartans out of Missouri, Cornerstone Saints out of Kansas, Topeka, Kansas.
coastal. There's a Coastal Hurricanes out of
Yeah.
Georgia. I mean, you just got a lot
Pack
of great
Panthers
teams on
out of
there.
South Carolina.
Greenville Hurricanes with South Carolina. You got KC East out of Kansas City. The
That's a
Manhattan.
cool name.
Oh yeah, KC East.
KCE is like a soccer name.
You've also got the Manhattan Eagles with city named Manhattan in Kansas.
It's actually a really big city. It's where Kansas, University of Kansas is. I almost said Kansas State, but the state universities are always in the capital of that state. So like TSU in Nashville, LSU in Baton Rouge.
You got Mount Zion Christian out of North Carolina, New Life Christian in Alabama, North River Christian, which you already talked about. Pack Panthers. They got Russell Christian, state champion several times.
Jacksonville Christian is one out of Alabama that they had been 11, made the move last year, and they were dangerous. The conference, they were in the CFA with Russell.
Not playoff eligible.
They
that
were not
first
playoff
year.
eligible. That's my
But-
thing, though. If they had been, they'd have won state, is my opinion, because I think that's the only loss that Russell took. So if they come back this year and just absolutely steamroll through that conference again,
They might go down to Florida. Who knows?
they could go to Florida. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think a total of probably looking at it, probably maybe 30 teams, 40 teams that they're keeping track of.
Yeah, and then
So he's got a good poll. They've got a good poll.
Yep.
Pool of teams to.
Yeah, and the top 8
look
teams
through.
out of those 40, of course, are the Division 1 and Division 2. That would be pretty impressive.
He wants to take the guy that runs it is who I talk to, but there is a whole group.
Yeah.
They like to take the top 8, and then they can do a Division. 2 years ago, they did Division 1, Division 2.
Yep.
Or they might have only had 5. But
They had
still
5.
did-
They still had to
Yeah,
do
they still had
Division
Division 1,
2, yeah.
Division 2. And then in previous years, I think 2017 back, 18 was different because you had
It was just the top 2 teams.
Yeah, you had the Storms come through, and they had to move it to NACA, so they just did the one game.
Yep.
2019, obviously, you only had 5 teams up there, and last year they only had 4. So, but the way that conferences schedules have been setting up, pretty much because they do it the second week of November.
Yep.
A lot of conferences have been having their championship game on that week.
And now the TSIAA has moved it so that
They moved it.
Yeah.
CFA, ACSC has moved. So, and then a lot of these are independent teams that can make the trip down.
Yep. So they've rearranged it and everything, and it just means for more teams to go down to Florida.
Which I think if you're a conference, it's so ideal to make it to where your champion can go to Florida.
And that's
like
what
I don't know why.
yeah.
I don't understand the thought process behind why you wouldn't do that.
I know last year with the pandemic, it made a lot of scheduling things go into a tizzy,
True.
so there's not so much. But 2019, it worked out obviously. In 2018, it was also because at least with the TSIAA, they didn't add that 16 playoff system until 2019, and then fortunately with the way the national championship and everything was moved, things got moved back and all that for the playoffs. But
That's fair.
But yeah, now they moved it back. The TSIAA playoffs start in October, and then championship is first weekend in November. So now their state champion can go straight down to Florida if they so choose. And I would hope each of the state champions choose to do that as well, because I know there was some talk about when Franklin Christian won the state championship last year, they wanted to go down to Florida, but they couldn't because of it being after the Florida championship and such. But now
There's no excuses
Yep,
at this point.
no excuse now.
If you're at this point, if you're a conference champ and you choose not to go, you either don't think you can do well, or you're just so focused on basketball.
yeah, there's no other way around
That's
it.
literally the two paths that you're on right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But a lot of exciting stuff to look forward to going into the season.
Hey, that could be a great tournament in Florida.
Oh yeah, with those top top 8 teams.
Even the top, just the top 4.
Yeah, because you think about just like even Evangel's always good, 3-time defending
national champion.
So Evangel probably go down there. Maybe Ezekiel, if they still regrouped and everything, they could go
see.
back down there.
I don't have them going.
Yeah,
But,
I don't know if yeah.
Just to remind. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know if Russell Christian will go down there because they haven't gone to the tournament since 2017. I think maybe they'll go back. Who knows?
I don't think they win state, and I don't think they go to national. I think it's Jacksonville Christian coming out of
if
CFA.
Jacksonville's eligible and all that, Jackson could go down there. TSIAA, I know you got Lighthouse as number 1 seed for the North. I'm trying to remember.
Providence is number one seed in the South.
Yeah, so maybe between either Providence or Lighthouse, assuming one of those two teams win the state championship. Maybe
I'm just saying there
down
needs to be
there.
fresh teams going down because,
Right.
Other than Evangel,
Yeah, because they deserve the chance to defend their title.
They
Yep.
deserve the chance to go down and defend their title. That's only right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you could have Evangel, Jacksonville Christian, just for arguments purposes. You could have Lighthouse Christian, and then bring a team out of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's a pretty good.
At least for the top 4 teams.
For
in
top
Division
4,
One.
yes, there's 2 from Alabama, 2 separate conferences, and then Tennessee, Louisiana. That's a pretty cool setup.
Yeah, and then Division 2, you know, possibly, again, just for argument's sake, you could have possibly the Tennessee Heat going down there. The Freedom Cowboys could possibly go down there.
I have a feeling whoever wins that game.
Oh, the Independence Bowl, yeah.
I have a feeling whoever wins
probably
that is probably
going
to be the team that goes.
Yeah, whoever wins
so you
the Independence
could
Bowl.
you could have the Heat, you could have Cornerstone Spartans out of Missouri, you could have the Coastal Hurricanes out of Georgia, and then maybe like
maybe Lighthouse Homeschool. Just an idea.
Maybe Wichita Warriors out of Kansas.
Yeah,
At that point, you have like 7, 8 different states, which I know their 11-man tournament is massive. I mean, they have like at least 7, 8, 9, 10 states.
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. They put on a good job with that. But, you know, as we segue into that, there's another coach who could tell us about their experience with Florida and how good of a show they had as we try to get in at Coach McGee from Ezell-Harding Christian School. So we'll see if we can get him on here, and here he is, Coach Dustin McGee of Ezell-Harding Christian School, the Eagles head coach. And Coach, we were actually just talking about the Florida tournament, so just to bounce it off of you, remind our viewers how your experience was with Florida in 2019.
Well, I mean, if you don't remember that 92-90 game, something's wrong with you.
I do.
That was the craziest weekend of my life, man. We drove down to Florida, blew a tire on the way down there, about an hour away from Panama, had no cell service, had to load the kids up in all the parents' cars. The coaches stayed on the bus for about 4 hours waiting for somebody to come fix our tire. We had birthday cake for dinner. Kids went on ahead of us and had pizza and had a great time. We showed up about 12 o'clock at night and turned around the next morning and played football. And I'll tell you this: I've never told anybody this in my life, but we did not prepare for that tournament one bit. We came off the state championship. You know, we were riding that high. Kids were just enjoying the week leading up to Florida. We did not game plan one bit, and the kids went down there. And showed out, man. Just the fact that we got to play 92-90 against that great Evangel team was a testament to how good our kids really played without any game plan.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to mention is the fact that, you know, the kids were able to step up to the point of, and not just the 92-90 game, but y'all also had to beat, I believe it was Freedom that y'all had to play
Freedom
on Saturday. So you had to win the Saturday game, and then your kids had to turn around and play a game on Monday night. And I think the Saturday game was Saturday morning. So you had a little bit of time, but you also, you know, it was a quick turnaround relatively compared to how it goes week to week. So, no, that's a huge testament to the kids.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Coach, speaking of coming off either a high or low, we'll figure it out. But the Jamboree was this past weekend for you guys, and especially with the off-season workouts, a vastly different off-season from last year. I'm interested to know what were your thoughts on how your players performed in the Jamboree this past weekend and some of the improvements you think you guys are going to try to make heading into Friday's game.
Yeah, I thought our kids played well. They were chomping at the bits to get to that point. You know, we've changed their offense a little bit. It was fun to see them execute that at a pretty high level for the first time live. And defensively, we stepped up, had a goal line stand there against FCA in the first regulation play. Had a couple of turnovers. We just had a lot of fun. Our kids played well, and I think they performed over our expectations probably.
Coach, we talk about those kids in 2019 and the way that they were able to just get up and play at the level that they did. You have the leaders on that year, and then even last year you guys still had guys like Jamboree and Braxton that were able to be a leader on your team. And then over the course of 2 years, you lose all those guys, and you have some guys transfer out. Going into this season, how do you replace that kind of leadership and that kind of gameplay? And who are some guys that you've seen over summer practices that you say, you know what, this guy is someone that y'all need to watch this year?
Yeah, I mean, we've worked really hard on our culture since I've been there, and I think it's always great to have great player leaders, but I think our culture will stand the test of time no matter who's in there. And we've had a lot of kids step up so far this year. James Hyman is our left guard defensive tackle. He's been a key part for us. He played really good ball last year, but he's grown into his body and his mind as a football player, and he's going to be one to watch this year. We're Melvin Cousins stepping into our quarterback role. He's only a sophomore, but he's a very vocal kid, very good leader. Kids love him. Kids love to play for him. So I'm looking forward to watching him excel this year at quarterback. And we've got a conglomerate of guys that have come out of the hallways, and a lot of senior athletes that have been playing baseball and basketball at Ezell for quite a few years, and we finally talked them into coming to the football field. And I'm telling you what, you're gonna see some names you haven't seen that are gonna show out. We got guys like Ryan Taylor, Paul Nix, Gabe Guzman, just some big time pieces for us that haven't played football in a few years, but have really had a good 4 or 5 weeks of work here leading up to the season. I'm looking forward to watching them.
Well, and it seems like the effects of you guys making the move 2 years ago, and what we preach and what everybody preaches to schools is, hey, when you make the move, the kids are going to get excited, even if it takes a year or two. The kids are going to get excited. Your program's going to grow. You're going to explode because guys are going to get interested in the program again and not just getting beat down every year. And I think that's something that Zion and Grace can look at this year and say, you know what, it worked for them. It can work for us. And I think there's a lot of schools that would benefit from doing it. And I think you could see an explosion in the growth of the programs that make the move.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's our program's almost doubled since we made the move, and the kids love the game. It's been a lot of fun. It's just nice to be on a safe playing field, but a competitive playing field, and the kids feed off that, and they know they've got a chance to win it every year, and it's just fun. And you're going to get a lot of kids who want to be a part of that. And it worked out really well for us, and I'm glad Grace and Zion decided to make that move.
When programs grow, though, then they get a whole bunch of kids, and then they move back, and then we lose them when we don't get to talk to them. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But it's also good for the school, and so I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Coach, you mentioned every year your program has a chance to win, and that could be said about some other programs, but particularly for Ezell-Harding, after 2019, you guys were coming off winning the state championship, and you seemed very poised to go right back to it. COVID-19 takes the athletic world by storm, and especially for you and for Ezell-Harding, you guys were arguably you guys had some of the more strict restrictions on surrounding the pandemic because of being in Davidson County as compared to the rest of the schools around Tennessee. So I'm interested to know how daunting of a task was it for you and your program to get through the pandemic and the struggles you guys had to go through to keep the players, and fans, and everyone involved safe, and then just how difficult it was for the season to end like it did last year?
Yeah, it was tough. You're right. Davidson County had a lot of rules that we had to follow that I think a lot of the other schools did not, and that's perfectly fine. It's all about keeping the kids safe. But I mean, you think about the first, like 8 or 9 weeks of practice, we couldn't tackle anybody. We weren't allowed to have physical contact. If we wanted to practice tackling on a bag, we had to clean it after every rep. And it's just a lot of things that really forced our players not to be as prepared as they would be on a normal year leading up to the first few games. And you could see it in the way that we played. We went 1-3 there to begin the season. Should have beat the Heat, had a fumble snap. It just, a lot of things went wrong for us early. And then we finally found what we needed to find there in that week 5, and we won 4 in a row. And, leading up to that Thursday night before Lighthouse in the playoffs, just finding out that one of our kids had come down with COVID, and just having to give it up at that point, it was pretty disappointing. We felt, very, very confident in our abilities to go win it all again last year, and just to not have the chance to do that really aided our boys. And I'm telling you, it's really caused a hunger within our team this year to go back and try and do it again.
Yeah, I could absolutely see it from the Jamboree and the way your guys played in both of those 2 quarters. It was a short amount of time, but it certainly did look like your players are really, really hungry to try and try and go back to the state championship this year. But you've got a new set of circumstances, although it's not pandemic level. The conference made the move to move you guys up to the North Division in the TSI-AA, so now you're in the likes of Coach Flanders with Christian Community and with now Sean Bell over at Lighthouse. But you've got a familiar face in Isaiah Austin with Classical to matter for those games in terms of playoff seeding. So what are your thoughts on being moved to the North and facing off against some of those new opponents in the North for playoff seeding?
Well, Sean is a familiar face.
He
though,
is with
coming from
Lancaster, yes. But your thoughts on being moved to the North?
We're excited about it. I love playing Coach Flanders. He's always one of the best. He's always got one of the best coach teams in the state. I think it evens out the state a little bit between the North and the South. Just a competitive balance, I do. We're excited to play some teams like South Haven that we've never played before, and to get a chance to be in Lighthouse's conference for the Battle of the Bell is going to be fun. It's just it's going to be a lot of good football, and we're excited to be a part of it, and hopefully have a chance to get that 1 seed in the North.
You got that game coming up Friday night, Battle of the Bell with Lighthouse, and obviously first game of the year. It's a divisional game, Battle of the Bell, kind of a pride thing with it. How much does that factor in with the kids? Have you heard the kids talk about it any, or what's one of their motivations going into Friday night that you've been able to kind of get them on board with?
Well, it's fun getting to play Coach Bell. Just the fact that he was at Lancaster, and Lancaster was one of our rivals there for the last couple of years, and he always gave us a good game plan offensively, and we were talking the other day about just how tough those games have been, and just excited to get a chance to play him as a head coach this year and see what he brings to the table over there at Lighthouse. But our kids are just motivated to play football. It could be anybody week one. We're just happy to be able to come back on the field and play again, and to start off with a conference game is all the motivation that you really need.
For sure, absolutely.
And Coach, you've had some gaps to fill on the roster with kids like Alex Valbuena no longer on the team, and players like Derek Griffin and Kadarius Price and such going places. So I'm interested to know from the summer workouts you've had and being with the players more closely this season than last year, which players stand out to you the most and as your leaders going into 2021?
Yeah, like I said, I think you're going to see a lot of good football out of a guy like James Hyman on the offensive line, defensive line. I think Noah Preston's going to be a running back that you're impressed with. I look forward to watching Melvin Cousins run our offense. And, Kai Robinson's a guy who played a lot of ball as a freshman last year, is going to be a good running back, defensive back for us this year. We just have a really good team-oriented approach this year. And I don't think there's one guy that stands above the rest, and I really like that. We've really worked hard to get it to that point, and we're going to have a slew of running backs, a fresh defense, and we really feel like our depth and our team-oriented approach is what's going to get us to the next level.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time on a Sunday to come on the show. We're excited to see the Ezell-Harding Eagles campaign in 2021, and we're excited to see your debut against Sean Bell and company in Antioch in the annual Battle of the Bell. Excited for it, and appreciate your time.
All right, buddies, no problem.
Yeah,
appreciate you, Coach.
That was Coach Dustin McGee of the Ezell-Harding Christian School Eagles. In post-game interviews and such, or even in those kind of interviews, you could tell how humble he is, how he's kind of reserved on some of these says. But he's got a lot of football knowledge, and he has a lot of he's a lot more. Once you get him talking, he's got a lot more wisdom than you'd realize.
A few weeks ago, he made an appearance on Sports Saturday.
Yep.
Tate Matthews Sports Saturday. I think we got a better interview on this team. I think we got the better.
We're not
interview.
comparing that kind of stuff.
Oh,
man.
come on!
Now.
I think we got the better one.
Come on now, but
What makes you think that?
yeah,
see what?
What makes you think that?
I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased.
Yeah, that exactly right.
I also think with us coming from the 8-man world and then from theirs, it's an outside looking in, like you get the stick and you're like poking, like, what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. It's that kind of vibe.
Oh, goodness. But But any thoughts from you on that, Brendan?
It was very interesting hearing the coach's point of view on how to handle practices during the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
I mean, just being a player and just like tackling that dummy and then waiting for the.
It's not the same, man.
No.
Yeah,
It's not.
You gotta get that flow going, and it's probably very tough because I couldn't imagine just sitting there. It's like, oh, I can't touch you, but hey, you're tackled.
I mean,
Exactly.
you even saw that through it with several teams. It wasn't until about probably week 5 or week 6 that teams actually got into their groove and were starting to perform at their peak level. And the problem was for several teams, because of how scheduling worked out, they had to schedule their division games at the front of the season. So a lot of them were thinking, I mean, you even saw it with when Ezell-Harding, their first win on that win streak, that was an overtime win against Classical in Franklin. So I'm sure it's the same thing. I'm sure we'll get Isaiah Austin on the show at some point.
Did that game go to overtime?
Yeah, it did.
I thought it was the Providence that went to overtime.
No, it was overtime because I remember we were at Franklin Christian South Haven.
Gotcha.
We're packing up our stuff. You keep calling me over and over. I'm like, James, he goes, hey. It's going to overtime across the street. Send somebody over there.
Just trying to get somebody over there.
Well, yeah, right reasons to do that. But, yeah, it was that game was, division matchup and such. And then Ezell-Harding ended up winning it, I think, on a last-second touchdown or something like that,
so,
which
yeah.
that put Ezell-Harding essentially into the playoffs with winning that game early on.
I think the Tennessee Heat were the only team that didn't really start the season off stumbling a little bit.
And you predicted him to go completely undefeated, though.
I'm hyping the Heat up.
He's relating to his TikTok. If you don't follow 8 Man Extreme on TikTok, go for it. But he's relating to that TikTok where he caught him. They caught him.
I was not okay. There's no Heat bias.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Oh my gosh,
we got him. So, but no, good interviews from Jeff Jordan and Dustin McGee. Great coaches and. They have their one has their debut in 8-man football this weekend, and one of them begins another season in 8-man football. Coach McGee's now technically his junior season of 8-man football, and technically, I believe he's been ahead.
What do you kick him out after 4? You go next up.
We send him off. We send him off into
after your senior year. You have to go to college.
You have to go to college. Yes, but. Update for you. Helmet schedule should be released hopefully this week or next week. Might be a little bit close on the time, but with the Zion moving around and such, it's just been some last-second revisions that are being made. But
and also adding in a bunch of Alabama teams to our coverage. They're all now. It's not like where we were doing the 10 Tennessee teams and they all play, and there might be 1 or 2 off teams. There's a whole lot of new helmets that had to get made. So it's a work in progress. Like you said, hopefully it's out this week. It should be out this week.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
That's the plan.
But because of that, we're not going to be able to do the signature following along with your helmet schedule. So now we go into one of my favorite parts of Extreme Talk. That's not my favorite part with him constantly swapping his hat in mid-thought.
That's the only thing I did. It's the first time I've done it all show.
No, not today, but every show it happens at least once or twice.
Here, watch this.
3, 4.
Be triggered.
Oh, I'll get revenge on him for it at some point. But okay. Time for us to go through week 1, my favorite part of Extreme Talk and Extreme Radio in the past. Time for us to go through our week-by-week predictions. James already gave his at the beginning of the year, but
I'll still walk you through them.
He still walks through each of them.
Because like me, I'm sure a lot of people have slipped since then, and they don't remember
and they don't want
how
to go
bad
back
I've predicted their team to do.
And they don't want to go back and watch the show. And Brendan, you are free to join in the predictions as you see fit. I know Zachary last year did from the get-go. You can make the predictions week by week, or you can go with whatever you want on that. So,
or you could just completely keep the heat off of yourself. Not the Tennessee.
You have
pressure.
Options.
I'll play it safe and go week by week,
so
I don't get burned.
Okay, you have options. So, I would say follow along on your helmet schedules from top to bottom. We don't have that yet. So, just follow along with me as I take you through this journey.
Like Mr. Rogers. Follow along with me.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. All right.
Don't
August.
Ever do that, kid.
I don't know. That's a little good song.
We clearly do not have fun on this show, everybody. There's a complete.
Very mundane.
It's a 180 turn once we get off camera. It's like, you know what, James? I don't like you anymore. I'm getting out of here.
It's a very mundane.
It's a very 180. So, all right, August 13th. football is back officially. Can't believe it, but football is back in the 8-man football scene. Here we go. We start off with, I already know what James is picking for this one, but we start off with Christian Community, because you predicted a few teams to go basically undefeated or
No, I
lose
didn't.
one game. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did that,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
didn't predict either of these teams to go
So-
close to undefeated.
The Colts, after hosting the Jamboree at their home field at May Flanders Field, they will start out the year hosting the Tennessee Heat in a game that always seems to kick off the regular season every year for
a
the
great way to
last,
kick it
I think,
off.
since 2018, I want to say. Probably since 2018, where
I think so.
that first game of the year for them has been either at the Tennessee Heat or hosted at May Flanders Field, and it's a rivalry that's essentially started ever since the Tennessee Heat have been around. So here you're laughing at something.
I thought you were going to go Jim Nance. It's a rivalry unlike any other.
It's a suffering unlike any other. The Masters on CBS. No, Nance does it way better than I ever could. All right, Christian Community. The Colts, along with Coach Flanders, they host the Tennessee Heat, who were the uncontested state champions of 2020. So, James, we know I remember how you predicted the Tennessee Heat to go up until the Independence Bowl, but take us through from what you saw in the Jamboree. They, I believe, the Tennessee Heat and the Colts face each other either 2 or 3 quarters, something like that.
No,
was 2 quarters.
just once.
I think they may have faced each other. Yeah, that's right. They only faced each other
Yeah,
once.
they just faced
So
each other once last night, and it was
the
actually
Heat got 4 quarters total. It was at the
Yeah.
end of the teams.
well,
but
so did CCS, but
Yep.
it was a really good quarter of gameplay.
Mhm.
Of course, it got to be fresh. Where
Yep.
that's the downside of the Jamboree is you have a fresh team coming in and a team that's already played a quarter, and so you got to take that into account. Both these teams were able to come into fresh last night, as fresh as you could be because they both played Friday night. It was a great quarter of football, but I think over the long haul in the course of 4 quarters, listen, the Heat beat CCS last year for the first time in like 12 years.
Yep.
And it was at the Heat's field, so it's special.
So Charlie Daniels Park.
Charlie
yep.
Daniels Park. It was special. I think they go into May Flanders Field and now beat them twice in a row and do it on CCS's field.
Take the prediction there. All right, Brendan. Are you going? All right, your time to start getting into the prediction game, my friend. Who you got? You got the Colts or the Heat?
I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. Just by their offensive play, just them running the ball, I was very, very impressed by the 2 running backs. And the Heat kind of struggled with it.
And I don't disagree. I mean, Malham and Adams are great running backs.
Mhm.
I mainly loved Adams. Adams is a
Oh,
star.
Adams
You're
is
like,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic. So split decision on that.
CCS loves the big back setup. They get
Yep.
just the big old backs and just bruise them. That's what they
absolutely
like
do.
to roll with. They've been doing it for a few years now.
They absolutely do. And now the team that we have been covering for a few years now, but they're officially in our rotation coverage, the Evangel Christian School Lightning. I don't understand what you're trying to do here.
Dub.
The W, yeah. So the Evangel Christian School Lightning, they host.
It's a dub for Event.
They host which team is it again?
Hang on. Some Franklin
Christian
team.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
All right, listen, it's a dub for Evangel.
Yeah,
okay?
you got a
dub
W.
for Evangel.
You got a W for Evangel on that one, and we just leave it at that. Unless you think Evangel's not going to win that game.
No, we'll just roll with it.
Yeah, we'll just roll with Evangel beating I believe the Eagles or the Macaws or something like that. I don't remember. Don't remember their mascot.
Falcons, I think.
Falcons, yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Something close.
Hey, they could give up a 28-3.
They could, yeah, 28-3. And well, you know what'll happen? They go up 28-3. Tim Smith on the sideline. He just points to the ring. He just points to the ring.
Just goes, welcome to Bama.
Welcome to Montevella.
It's been a while since we've had a Tennessee team
Face off against Evangel. Well,
go to Alabama.
go
Well,
to
other than
Alabama,
play
yeah.
Evangel.
Yeah. Go
But
to
yeah.
Alabama. It's been a while.
Should be a great game. I think Evangel now has their broadcast.
I think they got a
they're
video feed
streaming
now.
their video setup going. So Friday night you can watch that game live on. I think they have a YouTube channel for
Yeah.
Evangel.
I'm sure.
Is what I was seeing.
I'm sure you'll be watching that while
Oh,
you're producing at the same time.
For sure.
You'll be watching it. Just
Or
say,
at least I'll go back after the fact and watch it.
we'll get an earpiece in and go, "Hey guys, give an update on the Evangel score." Or something
I'll
like
have
that.
I'll have it running in the background.
Yeah, we will for sure. Grace Baptist Academy. They have technically their first 8-man football game. It is against the Bradley Knights, one of the teams that we haven't really talked about or really covered in any way, shape, or form. So, James, you're going to have to try and break it down for us because you
I don't know
being
nothing about this Bradley Knights team. I can't get the coach to respond to a text. I know nothing about the team. I don't even know what their helmet looks like. I can't get them to answer an email.
Okay.
Taking Grace.
All right, you're taking
Just
Grace on
because I can't find out what your helmet looks like. Also because I was very impressed with Grace Friday night. I liked what they had.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Grace as well. As a team together, they looked great.
Oh, yeah. Great. Grace looked fantastic in that Jamboree. And the team that, we've had our eye on, we haven't had a chance to cover a game for them yet, but hopefully we will at some point this season. The Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. They travel to North River Christian School. Can't remember their mascot.
The Chargers.
The Chargers of North River Christian School.
Look at me being the Rolodex of teams' names.
Yeah, you are the Rolodex now. So the Lighthouse Warriors, is it that them or the Chargers that take the W on their opening games of the season?
Oh, I see where you skipped over a game. I actually have Lighthouse winning that game.
You got the Warriors.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check something, because I know there was a running back from the Chargers at the All-American game last year, Keontae Jamison, and he really showed up and had a great game, and I want to see if he's back, because that'll be one of the toughest players that they face. Let's see if he's a senior this year. Keontae, I think he was on Team Stars, if I'm not mistaken. Where's Keontae?
That's a great question as James does his research on that. But the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors.
It's obviously not great research.
Well,
because I was unprepared.
Takes progress. He does this a lot on the show where he's not directly prepared and has to research stuff while live. Makes for these really awkward pauses.
Awkward.
I mean, I guess that's why it's technically a podcast still at this point. But it's still,
Oh, no, he was a senior. Never mind.
Okay. All right, so
he was a senior, so he's gone.
The Warriors and the Chargers, who you got, James?
I actually have the Warriors picking up the win on this one. I don't think they'll struggle with North River. North River hasn't had a great track record from what I've seen, and so I'm taking Lighthouse with this one.
I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm just going to take a little risk.
He's gonna go the opposite way and take a risk here.
All
right.
The other game that weekend, out of the games we're not covering, Providence Christian Academy on Saturday night at 7:30. They host a home game to start out the year, and it's a interdivisional matchup because of the restructuring. Franklin Classical School travels down not too far, about 45 minutes over to Murfreesboro, and Isaiah Austin and company, they collide with Providence. So Ferguson versus Austin should be a decent matchup. Someone's got to win it, though.
Well, they had a great game last year in Franklin.
Yep.
And so this is Classical's first time going to Providence. I like what I see out of Franklin Classical. I love what Isaiah and Coach Austin has been able to do over there. I mean, they don't have anybody that if they turn sideways, you can see them. It looks like a tree over there. It's all sticks, but they do have Jaden Frazier's little brother coming in a couple weeks. He's nursing an injury, but they do have his little brother coming in, which I think you remember he was an all-star, extreme all-star. He played Jaden. Had originally signed with Carson Newman, so his little brother's coming in. He's going to play for them. I think he'll do pretty well. But I'd also like what Providence brings back, and I like the job Coach Ferguson's done over there. I'm taking Providence Christian on this one to open up the season with a win at home.
All right, we'll see if Ferguson can get it done. What do you think, Brendan?
I'm going to go Franklin Classical on this one.
All right.
You really like what you saw last night.
Yeah, I really love what I saw.
Yeah, we didn't get to see Providence in the Jamboree, which is unfortunate. I'm not sure why. But I'm sure that they'll hopefully it won't affect them too much going into Saturday's game. All right, the first Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week for the season. Can I get a drum roll, please, gentlemen? Thank you. The first game is Coach Sean.
No one cares.
Couldn't be more perfectly timed. That's the thing about comedy. It's all about the timing. First game, Sean Bell under the lights. He's got pressure on him as he will be in prime time for our first game of the year. Sean Bell and the Lighthouse Christian School Lions, who are also not at the Jamboree. They will be colliding with the Ezell-Harding Christian School Eagles. Familiar face for McGee and Bell seeing each other, but this game on the start of the season, it's for a division matchup. This game matters for playoff seeding going forward, especially since there's 5 teams eligible in the North. Only 3 of them are going to make it into the postseason. So every win matters from this point forward. So we'll see Coach McGee and company travel down for the Battle of the Bell, which is more than just a ceremonial pride matchup. It is for
There's a literal
playoffs.
bell.
And there is a literal bell that
the winner gets their name on.
Last
That's
two,
nice.
last
it's like
2
it's
years.
painted down the center.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got the 2 schools.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, let's see if I can find a picture of it.
In the last 2 years, it's been possessed by Ezell-Harding. So, well, as James is going to find the bell, Brendan, it's time for you to make your prediction, and you might want to be careful about your words, especially going into Lighthouse as you see the picture.
That's what they
there.
play for.
That'll be another thing you'll have to retweet. But all right, Brendan, you might want to be careful about your choice of words, especially since this is your first time showing up at Lighthouse. But
Bubba.
who do you got winning between Bell and McGee?
Who'd you say you have again?
He hasn't said
Oh,
anything
come
yet.
on, I
That's why I
can't
asked
take-
you.
Okay.
Okay, listen, I'm taking Lighthouse. I like what Coach Bell has done, and I like what they bring back. They bring back Christian Sharp. They bring back space on his name again. That happens a lot. But I like what Coach Bell has done with Lighthouse. I've got them winning at home, kicking off the season with a win.
And taking the bell back for the first time.
Yes.
First time to Antioch. So
Take it to that side of 24.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with them. I bet they're hungry for that bell back. And
You don't like what you saw last night from
With
Friday
Ezell-Harding?
night from Ezell-Harding?
Okay.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Just some things kind of just in a game. Just if you know certain things are on the line, you're willing to play a little bit harder than
All right.
usual.
All right. And then
Wow.
so we've got a doubleheader this weekend. We didn't have a lot of doubleheaders last year.
No, we actually didn't.
I think we don't even have a triple header this year yet, at least from the broadcast schedule that we've got. We might have a triple header later on, but I'm not sure what you're trying to view over there, James.
I am actually currently on Evangel Christian's YouTube channel where they'll do the games,
You're looking at
and
the
I'm
test
looking at
streams.
their test stream.
Okay.
So
Looks like
Looks
they
like-
got Wi-Fi out there. That's good.
Let's-
They got some stuff
They
out
did,
there.
yeah,
Looks
they
fine,
did.
but
let's see.
yeah, it looked
It looks like they got a solid camera setup too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty
good.
good.
And it's also with
Pretty
that
good shot.
that portable scaffolding system they have too. It's a nice elevation.
Their baseball
everything.
infield is
Yep.
back behind them.
We got
so
one
that's the
more game to
outfield.
predict
That's
though,
nice.
and it is Riverside Christian was going to participate in 8-man football
know-
this year, but they had to unfortunately drop out last second. So now Zion Christian has taken over their setup. Oh, what is it now?
They are sitting at 28 subscribers.
Make that 29.
They're now at 29. And hang on, they'll be at 30 in a second.
Oh, you're going to your personal.
No, that
one.
was on my personal.
Okay,
That was on
so
my
personal and then 30 with 8-man extreme.
Yep.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Can't wait to watch their games this year.
It's
I'm
gonna be
excited,
special.
man. I've
You
been
got the
waiting
bell
for them
on
to-
for both?
No,
Yeah, you get-
not yet. Okay, so I'm subscribed. Turn the bell on.
Tell so many
which is
people
what,
to get the bell on for us.
Oh, they must have set up their channel as content made for kids because you can't turn the bell on channels
Oh, yeah. They
on
probably
those
need
channels.
to change
Which that's
that.
what you need to do for us too. Subscribe and turn
Get
the bell on. There you go.
And with the doubleheader, we start off the season with a game on Saturday night at 6 p.m. The South Haven Christian School Patriots will host the Zion Christian Academy Eagles. The Patriots, runner-up for the state championship last year, they look to continue that campaign and go right back to the state championship if they have the opportunity to do so. They got a tough matchup with the opponents they have in the North Division, but they got to set the tempo early against Zion Christian Academy and Coach Jordan and company. So 6 p.m. in Springfield. James, who you got for this one?
I am actually taking South Haven in this one.
Mm.
I like what I saw out of them, and I know I predicted all these games preseason, but I'm explaining myself now currently. I like what they brought to the don't do that. I like what they brought to the table last night. The game between the two of them was just fantastic. The quarter between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I think we're in for a great game. I think it will be close, and I think South Haven wins it.
I'm going to go with South Haven as well. They look great to me, and that matchup looks really nice.
I love that we both picked against the coaches that we just had on the show.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all love, though. It's all love.
So yeah, I think that also means you know what? Let's hope that's not a pattern going forward, because if that means if we get you on the show, it's like, yeah, we'll get you on and let you talk about your players and such. Yeah, James ain't picking you.
We don't believe you.
That's what Rita. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking the pattern is going to be. But as mentioned, Friday night, the Battle of the Bell. We got it for you live, and Saturday night at 6 p.m. we got South Haven versus Zion Christian.
And Friday and Saturday night, we will have our new setup rolling. It'll work.
Yeah,
It'll look
knock on
good.
wood. Yeah, everybody's knocking on wood, hoping it works. Even Audrey out there is knocking on wood and everything. I'm sure he's
Please let it work.
Yeah,
Oh, that
everything
was a
should be
struggle.
good. We got some new innovations for you and everything, including with all the sponsors and such. We got some new things we're testing out. We got to hey, when the game is over, stick around for the post-game report. Yeah, stick around for the Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game report. That is the Spencer request of very minimal. James will request everything under the sun for you and the rest of the fan base. But
Just for that, don't stick around.
for me, the Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game report. Be sure to tune in for it. It'll be something special for the players and everything. So, but James, your usual shout-outs, because we're about at the end of the show.
Someone said Zion is going to win. All right, Bubba. Shout out to both these coaches for coming on
Yep.
and giving us their time.
Mm-hmm. Got any others
That's
that you
it.
usually do? You got
Shout out to Sling
there. It is.
for the faulty equipment.
Oh,
That wasn't Sling.
Oh,
that was shout out to that
Shout
seller
out
on
to
eBay.
the piece of trash seller
Oh.
who sold us some equipment and told us one thing was wrong. It turned out multiple things were wrong.
Oh, he chose violence today. He definitely woke
You
up
may,
and said,
every day we wake up and make a choice.
Hey, let me find his eBay username and I'll give him specific negative shout out.
No, but any
That's
shout outs for you, Brennan?
violence.
Shout out to you guys for letting me on here, and this is going to be a great opportunity. I'm going to love this. I've already enjoyed it. Shout out to friends and family out there. I'm going to get you guys to hopefully get you guys to watch this for me.
There you go.
And
There you go.
to get you guys going up and bopping.
My
But
family doesn't give a rip, but it's all good.
Yeah, I should have. I should have had second thoughts when he had that Naruto shirt on. Just thinking about it, man. It's no anime.
You're
But-
wearing
anime.
a weekend shirt.
What? Okay, there's a difference between anime and a relevant
He
artist in
literally
today's day and
became
age.
a
This is-
meme. This is a
That's 'cause-
cultural
that's 'cause he-
phenomenon.
okay.
This is like one of the best.
You're a
anime
meme.
You're
out
saying the
here.
weekend
He's a
isn't a cultural
phenomenon.
phenomenon.
He is.
No.
Okay,
What?
yeah.
Hold on. Time out.
Time out. Flag on the play. Ronnie, give me a flag here.
No.
Flag on the
Flag.
play.
You know who is a culture phenomenon? Upchurch.
Huh?
Never mind.
He's a country.
You even
That's
got
a country-
Audrey
that's a
laughing
country
at
thing.
that one. Like, come on now.
It's a country
Come
thing.
on now. Oh, good.
I
Goodness.
guess I better get back on camera.
Good. Yeah,
I'm
you
like out of.
Well, I mean,
out
the
of
show's
frame.
the show's about to be over, so I mean, I guess you could, but
Milk it for every minute I can get.
yeah, exactly. All right, well, that is going to do it for Extreme Talk, presented by GracePointe Healthcare, fueled by Fairlife Core Power Protein, and financially supported in part by First Horizon. For James, for Audrey, for Brandon, for Monica as well, and Spencer Thompson. We'll see you Friday for the Battle of the Bell and Saturday for South Haven and Zion.
See ya.
Peace.